Hey guys, it's Mike at You Are The Path. So I want to talk about psychological problems, psychological trauma. Well, not trauma, but when you do your head in, when you're going about your day, but you're getting caught in your own head, and it might have been something that happened to you, a relationship, something that someone did or failed to do, and you feel like it's holding you back. Or it could be that you feel like you're being held back in general, and you might feel stuck in the mud and feel like you can't take a certain course of action, or that you can't live your life until the psychological pain is dealt with. Now, it needn't have to be that way. I've been reading this book, Get Out of Your Mind and Into Your Life, and it uses the analogy of being on a battlefield. So the metaphor is the person is on the battlefield and the war isn't going too well, and losing the war is a devastating outcome, and they feel that they must win the war, otherwise living a meaningful life isn't going to be possible. And in this book, it's a form of therapy known as ACT, ACT. That stands for Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. So with ACT, what you would do is, rather than continue to fight, because fighting for your life is different to living your life, you take yourself off the battlefield. Now, the battlefield may look the same, but it's more likely that it won't have the same effect. It won't have the same controlling effect on you. And when I read that, mentally, I took myself off the battlefield. And what was troubling me, it was still there, but I didn't feel the need to fight with it. And it changes how you experience it. Another good way to put this point across is to talk about the Chinese finger trap. Now, in this finger trap, you put your fingers into the trap, but if you try to pull your fingers out and you struggle, you actually get more stuck. But if you relax into the trap, you're able to free yourself. And it's the same with quicksand. It uses the analogy of quicksand. Now, if you struggle in the quicksand and you go to lift one of your legs up, you actually sink further into the sand. What you have to do is try and make yourself flat, so you actually push yourself into the quicksand so that there's a greater surface area. Your weight is distributed over a greater surface area, and that's the way to get out of the quicksand. So what we're talking about here really is merging into life, getting stuck in, rather than having life here and you here in the psychological problem, and you're waiting to live your life. Live your life now. Take yourself off of the battlefield. Yes, it may still be there. The battlefield may look the same, the terrain may look the same, but its impact will be different. So it's kind of like treating those thoughts, that chatter, treating it as though it's a TV that's on in the background, that no one's paying attention to. You know it's there, you know the TV's on, but you're not paying attention to it as much. So the logical thought process of I need to win this before I can begin living my life is abandoned. So as I mentioned on the last video, or maybe the video before that, things happen to us in the past, you know, a moment in time. But I was thinking about this today, that I'm not that person who had that past, because I've grown as a person, and that version of me back then would have made different choices and would have behaved differently than how I would now. So how can I be that version of Mike? Because I wouldn't behave like him. And that's why they say the master leaves no footprints. So you can liberate yourself from your past. Hope you got something from that. Catch you in the next video. Peace.